Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today, I have with us, he's an actor, and he is starring in the upcoming indie horror flick called Bunker Heights. I have with us today Douglas Esper. Douglas, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thanks for having me. How you doing?
It's a pleasure having you on, man. I'm good, man. I'm good. So tell us a little bit about Bunker Heights and your role in it.
So Bunker Heights is I guess you'd say it's a horror movie, but to me, it's an action movie. It's a drama movie. It's a whole bunch of stuff kind of mixed into one. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine, Drew Fortier, who I worked with on a movie called Dwellers, which was a found footage movie, asked me to play a cameraman in a movie that he has. And I instantly said yes because I love Drew. And we filmed throughout the summer of 2023 into the winter of 2023. And he's still, I don't know if I should say it, but I think he's still working on the end of the movie. It's a horror movie, but it is a ensemble movie where there's several storylines in this small town called Bunker Heights. And how they work very independently and then kind of mix together in this film, which is really cool.
Yeah, and from the trailer, what I see, it kind of has like a post-apocalyptic sense to it, and there's some kind of creature out there.
Right. Well. And I when I talked to Drew earlier, he said, I said, "Hey, are you available today to talk?" And he was like, "Listen, I trust you, just no spoilers." But obviously, you've seen the trailer, creature. Yes. And delving beyond that, I can't tell you too much. But what's cool about this movie is that, again, I guess there's very different characters, and they have very different storylines. And the character kind of brings us all together, which is, I think, which is pretty cool.
And I also see, I mean, there's quite an ensemble of actors and actresses in this movie.
Right.
One of which is Paul T. Taylor, who's more famous for playing Pinhead in Hellraiser Judgment Day, as well as I see Violent J from ICP's in it as well, which is random.
Right. So Drew Fortier is one of the nicest people on the planet. Mm-hmm. And he is a musician and an actor and a writer and a director, which it's hard not to be jealous of the guy because he's also super good looking. And he brought together this group of people, including Violent J from, Insane Clown Posse, Dave Ellefson, who has spent time in some of the biggest metal bands on the planet. Vinny Dombrowski from Sponge is in it. There's some really good veteran actors and some really cool musicians, and he kind of found a way that we could all kind of interact together and make sense, which is not an easy thing to do.
So how did you get into acting? Because I see especially indie horror, because I've seen you've been in quite a few indie horror films.
So by accident, I guess. So I did a tour as a conga player, an acoustic tour, with a guy named Chuck Mosley, who is known as he was the original singer of Faith No More. He also sang in Bad Brains, and he sang in a really cool band called Cement and a band called VUA. He and I were friends for a long time, and I somehow helped talk him into doing an acoustic tour, and he took me on as a conga player. And we toured for 2 years, and one of the legs of the tour, Drew Fortier was our guitar player. Now, how he got involved in the tour, I'm not 100% sure. I think he was like a friend of a friend recommended Drew to play with us. And I met him and we just hit it off. And shortly after the tour ended, he asked me to be in his movie Dwellers, which he was writing at the time. And I was like, the only acting experience I had at that time was we did a short film in Salem, Massachusetts in 2017 with Chuck, and it was revolved around Chuck and playing live. And I basically played a fictionalized version of myself. And Drew said, "Would you be in this movie?" I said, "Sure, you're fun and cool. Let's do it." And it turned into this whole thing where we filmed in Cincinnati in this awful, awful tunnel. It was dark and muddy and full of bat poop everywhere.
Nice.
But Drew is just a guy who you want to like break through walls for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that movie, and people saw that and liked what I did, and I started getting other roles. James L. Edwards, who is also in Dwellers, he was working on a movie, and he asked me to play a bodyguard in the background, and it just led to other things. So that's kind of how I got into acting. I don't know. I don't have any training, and I don't know what I'm doing.
You just fell into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
because you and I talked, and you're not a big horror fan. So I mean, isn't it weird that you're like, wow, you're so immersed in the horror scene now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against horror at all. You know, the stuff that I've seen, I've liked. I just don't know. Like, you talk to Drew, and he could tell you, in the movie like Chud, for instance, he could tell you every background character, actor, actress, production person, key grip. I just don't know horror to that depth, you know, like the stuff I've seen. You know, I mean, you talked about Paul Taylor. Like, I've seen some of the Hellraiser movies. I understand the stakes. It's intense. It's cool, but I don't know who was the fourth key grip on it. You know,
yeah,
Drew does.
Yeah. So, give you some horror nerd trivia. So, Doug Bradley was the Pinhead, and then I think after the third one, then there was a couple other actors who played Pinhead. Unfortunately, in the not so great Hellraiser movies, but Paul T. Taylor was probably the best Pinhead in those direct-to-video Hellraiser movies. So he definitely iconic.
Yeah,
in the indie horror scene.
Yeah, and I'll say, my time on the set with him, not knowing a lot about him, I was like enthralled, like watching him work. I think Drew wrote a part for him that is fun, that I think any actor who read the script would love to play, but not everyone could do. And he just ran with it, and it is just a joy to watch. It is spooky, it's off kilter, and pretty original. I think I think people are going to get a kick out of it.
Then the first time you were in the movie Dwellers, which I've seen, by the way, streaming on Tubi right now, so I'll definitely check that one out. Now, so after you finished the movie, you watched it. Were you like, oh shit, I'm in a movie?
100%. You know, it happened so fast, and it was such a, like, to me, it was more like I was hanging out with a couple friends. You know, Drew made this script where it was so laid back, and he basically, we went to an area in Akron, Ohio, for an afternoon, and he was interviewing people who were playing like homeless characters in the movie, and it was almost like not even a script. He just said, let's just go and have fun and see what happens. Actually, my wife plays a part in the movie. She plays a homeless character in the movie.
Nice.
And her part was almost unscripted, where we just kind of worked with what we had around us. And to watch him, you know, Drew is a natural on stage, on camera. James L. Edwards, has a million credits, and he is just so likable and so relatable, and he can just turn it on in a way that I haven't seen before, because I don't know a bunch of actors, but you could be in the middle of a conversation talking about whatever, and then the director Drew could yell action, and he's just right in the moment, right in character, going with the flow. So that was my big challenge, was trying to play catch up, not falling behind these guys, because they just were naturals, Drew was in a movie called Her Name Was Krista, which is one of the more disturbing movies I've ever seen in my life. It was James L. Edwards wrote and directed it. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not.
So it was described as the world's most romantic necrophilia story.
Oh, okay.
It is intense. And James, who directed it and wrote it and stars in it, he went for it.
He sold it.
And not many people could do what he did. And he asked, late in the process, he asked one of my bands to donate a song to the soundtrack. And I didn't know anything about the movie at the time. And I said, sure, whatever song you want. He picked a song and it's in the movie. And I mean, it's disturbing. Don't go into it with, it's, but he found a way to make it, because he sold it, because of his acting abilities, he makes it work. And not everyone's going to have the stomach for it, and not everyone watching is going to love it.
Don't say that. Yeah.
But if you go in with a super duper open mind, you might enjoy it.
I'm definitely going to check it
out. Her Name Was Krista. And like I said, just going with an open mind. But he did it, and it's amazing that he put the time and the effort, and he had the knowledge and the ability to do it, because, like I said, not everyone could pull that off. So just for me, watching him and Drew and the other people in Dwellers work, I really learned a lot.
But also, too, I think it must be, like, I've never acted in a movie, and I'm pretty sure I'm getting offered a lot of little roles from indie horror filmmakers. So that's going to be coming up soon. But I can imagine, like, if you're on a set, you're not a trained actor, you didn't go to school for it, you didn't, in a big name movie. I can imagine it's pretty fucking intimidating when you see someone like, Drew, or even like a Paul T. Taylor, come on and just boom, they're like on it, professionals, boom, 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 and like you're like, well, how the fuck did they do that? How am I going to be that fucking good? Like, I hope I'm even close to them.
Yeah, 100%. I was in a movie I filmed called Trivial, which still isn't out yet. But again, James L. Edwards, who's in Dwellers and also in Bunker Heights, wrote and directed. He asked me to be a part in this movie, and there's an actress, Sasha Graham, who's in the movie, and she's kind of the star of the movie. And just coming on set, and I got there, and they were in the middle of the scene before my first scene, and watching her work, it's hard not to be intimidated. It's hard not to say, like, I could have done my homework more. I could have practiced the lines more. I could have, whatnot. But she just has this unnatural ability to, the camera follows her. I don't know if that makes sense, but no matter where you set the lights, and no matter how the audio is, and how you've like staged the scene, when she comes on the set, it just, the attention focuses on her. So with Paul on set, I don't have, and again, Drew, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but I don't have a ton of scenes with him, but I was there for a lot of the scenes he filmed, and I got to kind of watch him, and he had the same effect where every time he opened his mouth, I said, he just gets it. He just has this energy, this vibe, and you just get sucked in by anything he says.
Yeah.
And it was funny because there's one scene where we had, let's say, 30 people in this one area. And Drew, I'm not spoiling anything, but we had 30 people collectively in a room. And when Paul walked in, you knew he was there. Everyone focused, and he became this like center of attention, and everyone wanted to kind of talk to him and pick his brain and whatnot. And I was super intimidated. I'm a guy who doesn't know anything about anything. I don't know. I'm there because I know Drew, and he needed some goofy looking, bearded bald guy, for a small part. So my whole thing is I just want to soak up as much as I can from the people who have done it before, and just try not to embarrass myself, which is a low bar. But I feel, it's a good thing to strive for.
Because I mean, listen, we've all seen bad indie horror movies, right? Where it's just the acting is just like, hey, Sarah, are you going to go to the market and get the fish? Yeah, Kyle, I'm going. We've all seen those, right?
Right.
Tubi is filled with them, and like I as a person who's never acted, but I watch a lot of movies and I'm a movie connoisseur, and I'm like, fuck, that's fucking bad. Like I'm like, fuck, and I'm talking shit like, fuck, that's fucking bad. I could do a better job of that. But I think like for my first couple roles, I think that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, Brian, what's out that fucking door? I hope that's not me, but I feel like I might be on that level where someone's gonna watch the movie and be like, this fucking guy, is he reading a fucking script or something? Did he even know his lines? Like, is he reading something?
I mean,
he's talking like an AI.
I think if you talk to any actor, actress, whatever, they've probably got scenes that they look at and they say, man, I wish I had another shot at that, So when you do, what would you want your first role to be? What would you want to be?
So I have a first role, but I'm not allowed to say what it is, but like, so I don't know how to listen. I don't even know what the scenario is. I got the script. I got my lines. I have multiple lines, and but listen, I've always wanted to be a victim in a horror movie. That's been my thing.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I'm a victim in this, but at the same time, I didn't want to just be someone in the background. I want to be someone who gets killed. That's if I was going to do my first movie, I don't want. I've had people say, "Oh, be in my movie. You want to be a security guard, stand in the back." I'm like, nah, I'm good. I want to be someone like, hey, I'm the black guy who got killed in the fucking barbershop. Like, I want to be able to say that,
Yeah, see, I've been bald since I was 21, so I can't. No barbershop is. I can't.
Yeah, I'm bald too. I wear a hat a lot, but I'm definitely bald. But yeah, I'm the bald black guy with the glasses on who got murdered first in that movie. Yes, but but yeah, I mean, I feel like I give respect to. I mean, since I've been doing this channel, I get so much respect to filmmakers and actors and actresses. Because it's a fuck. I mean, no matter how bad your movie is, or how unprepared you are, or what your budget is, you're still doing something that probably 85% of the population can't and won't do.
100%. Yeah. And we had scheduled our interview for 8:00. And I texted you and I said I was running late. I needed to be 8:10. Right.
Yep.
Now, what I was doing was I was scouting a scene. A set. I needed a bench in Cleveland to work on a scene that I'm a short film that I'm doing. Now I'm filming a short film and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. I had an idea. I'm shooting it, and there's such kind of like an excitement, of nerves and excitement and the creative spirit of putting something like that together. And I respect anyone who's out there doing it, because it is not easy. It is not glamorous. I did a short film called It'll Be Okay around this time last year, actually almost a year ago, with the filmmaker Richard Russell, who is a young director out of Akron, Ohio. And it was a kind of a family drama movie, and we filmed it over a weekend in Columbus, Ohio, or close to Columbus, Ohio. And it was one of the first times where I worked with, I didn't know anyone, in the cast. So it was outside of working with Drew. I've worked with him on a couple things, and I met him, he led to James L. Edwards, who did Trivial. This was like a brand new thing, zero budget short film in Columbus. And I just went along for the ride. And there was a guy in the cast from Michigan. There was somebody from the cast from Southern Ohio. The director was from Akron, Canton area. And there's such a cool energy about just meeting strange people in a bed and breakfast, and saying, let's make something, brand new off this, 20-page script. I don't know. Like, to me, it was exciting. And even like you said, even if I've seen some movies that I didn't love, but there's always something, there's a performance or a song or a lighting cue or something that you can take away to say, wow, that was pretty cool, and hopefully it sounds like you're going on the adventure of filming your first thing.
Don't know. Give it a try.
Possibly. We can't give away the info, but
yes,
it's a fun. You just enjoy the ride and see where
fun.
It goes, right?
It's fun. I'm gonna be like, but do you know one thing? So I do not. It's hard for me now to bash indie movies. Now I can bash big budget fucking movies. If a movie has an incredible fucking budget and you have big name actors and actresses, professionals on it, and you make a fucking turd, yes, I can bash that because you've seen them. Like, you're like, whoa! Like, you had a fucking $100 million budget, and right. You had this great director and writer, and Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. And how do you fuck this up? Like, how do you fuck that up?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So as I was scouring the area today for a bench, which it just sounds ridiculous to tell somebody, hey, I was looking for a bench in a park to film. I'm working on this zero budget short film that I'm kind of pulling together just to kind of learn the process. I know going in, it's probably not going to look great. It's probably not going to sound great. But I hope that there's a couple of moments, that the actors can shine, that I can make something interesting to watch. I can't imagine spending $100 million and making something really bad. Like,
it's just flushing money down the toilet at that point, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So a buddy of mine, Bob Caldecott, he is an actor out of Buffalo, New York, and he's been in a few things. And he actually got me a small part as a kind of a goon / hitman in a movie a few years ago, and I was talking to him, and he has been involved with some bigger productions, and he really helped show me that you could have a production that has $1 million budget that doesn't have a direction, that is just kind of like, well, this person knew this person knew this person, and so we're going to make a movie, And it's crazy to think that I like a lot of movies that are like, well, we had this 5-person crew, we had $20,000, and we found a way to make this stellar, cool drama, horror, movie or whatever. Bunker Heights, I was blown away by what Drew and his crew were able to do. You know, Dwellers was, I mean, a zero budget found footage movie. We had one camera. We played the camera people ourselves, filming each other. We kind of improvised when it felt right. And the script changed depending on what the weather was, you know, what our obstacles were. With Bunker Heights, Drew and his crew found a way to take a script, and each day they made it better and better and better and better. Hannah is she is the lead actress in the movie. She was in VHS and several other movies.
Yes.
And she also acts as a producer. And like watching her and Drew kind of bounce ideas off each other was really cool to see, because they had this group that for these weekends that we got together, they were all we were all invested in this thing, in this script, in this production, and I think it shows in the shots that we got, and the sounds, the acting, the lighting was super cool. You know, they have a guy in the crew. His name's Christopher Robin, which is like the guy from
Nice.
you know, Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, and he was just phenomenal. The energy that he brought, whether it was lighting a scene we filmed in a hospital, or he plays a part in the movie, and he brought that energy on screen. He filmed and had to lug around this, you know, camera gear. Everybody. I mean, I can name everyone that was involved with this movie brought their A game, and I think that's because of Drew and Hannah bringing together this group, and that's why I'm so excited to see the final cut of the movie.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting. Now you're in Columbus, Ohio. I'm in
Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah. Okay, Cleveland. But you're shooting in Columbus.
Yeah, so we Bunker Heights we shot in like West Virginia, we shot in Cincinnati, we shot in Tennessee. I'm trying to think where else we shot, like all over the place. I mean, I want to say there's some West Virginia stuff. That was you know, Drew really got people from all over. I know I shot in 3 different parts in Ohio and in Tennessee for this film, and I know, you know, I was involved with just a chunk of one of the stories. Like I said, there's several different like kind of stories that come together in the climax of this movie. So there's people that filmed plenty more outside of that, and even just seeing the preview was cool, because there's stuff that they adapted from the script and developed as they were going. I think there's a couple of characters I know that had very small, like, one scene roles that they said there's something here, and they just on the fly developed this role and made it bigger, which was it's super cool. I mean, that's Drew and Hannah, you know, being able to trust the people in the cast, being able to trust the people in the crew, having a rapport with the people, the places that we're shooting at, to say, hey, can we have a little extra time to just see what we could do here? I mean, it really was a unique experience.
So I live in Baltimore, Maryland, but I've been all throughout Ohio, and I've seen every single professional Ohio team play. For the Indians down to Guardians, I've the Browns, Bengals, and the Reds. And but I spent a lot of time for work in Columbus, Ohio, and OH. IO. Yes. Okay. But I mean, I went to the Buckeyes game. Yes. And Columbus, Ohio. If someone asked me right now, Travis, you had a movie anywhere in the Midwest, right? I'd be like, Columbus, Ohio. And when I say Columbus, Ohio, people look at me like, why? What? Huh? Columbus, Ohio, for anybody who doesn't know, is where, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it is where they test, like big companies test all of their products, like the fast food chains everywhere. That's where Columbus, Ohio is the market where they get to try anything out
Yeah.
first before it goes out to the rest of the country. That's technology, food, whatever. So there's a lot of great jobs in Columbus, Ohio. There's great
Yep.
people. It's the Buckeye city, and I mean it's a nice city. I fucking love Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, as a Clevelander, it's probably like taboo for me to talk up another city, but Columbus, it's a cool downtown.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cool art scene. There's a cool music scene. You know, it is now there's cool music clubs. Like I said, I'm from a music background, so that's kind of how I judge everything.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, you've got Ohio State there, and no, it's a cool place, and I've been lucky enough to film some stuff down there and play some music there, and it's kind of in the middle of everything. So yeah. Now Baltimore, it's funny. The last time I was in Baltimore, and this is going back a ways, was 2015. I went to a concert at the Merriweather Post, which is kind of outside of the city.
In Columbia, yes.
Yeah, Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Faith No More, which is like my favorite band. I saw them there. But I took my kids who were young at the time, and we saw the harbor and everything, and did the downtown Baltimore thing. It's a very nice city. Now, as a Clevelander, you guys stole our football team. It happens. It's tough. If my wife
That is some bullshit. That is some bullshit. So I'm not a Ravens fan. I'm an Eagles fan. I'm an Eagles fan, right?
Okay.
But I went to a Browns versus Ravens game in Cleveland, and the lady who I was dating at the time from Baltimore, she had a Ravens jersey on, and I said, "Please don't wear that into that fucking stadium."
Yeah.
And I had no idea. Because, like, once again, I'm an Eagles fan. I know that the Cowboys hate us. I know that the Giants fans hate us. You can't go into those stadiums. I'm a Yankees fan. I would never ever walk into Fenway with a Yankee cap on. I listen. I know it's going to be bad. And by the way, if you're a Cowboys fan, do never ever walk into Eagle Stadium with a fucking Cowboy shirt on, unless you want to be harassed and assaulted the whole entire time. Do not do that. Do not do that. But I had no idea how much Browns fans hate the fucking Ravens. I mean, I think they hate them more than Steelers fans do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it doesn't help that the Browns have been really bad since we came back in '99. Steelers, growing up as a kid, Steelers were always the number one opponent and hate them, and then all of a sudden our team gets stolen and it's the Ravens, and then we got to play them, and then they're good and they win Super Bowls. They get
2 Super Bowls, yeah.
What? Come on. So that was tough. Yeah. Now, so it's funny, as a young kid, I grew up in Buffalo, New York. So my parents were both from Cleveland. They met, and my dad got transferred to Buffalo. So I grew up in Buffalo. So I started as a Buffalo Bills fan, but my parents were always like, "Hey, we're a Browns family." And so one of my first football games as a kid was in Cleveland. I wore a Buffalo Bills shirt, not knowing how intense everything was.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my brother, who were rooting for the Bills because we were from Buffalo, the Bills were winning, and Cleveland fans were dumping beers on us. And I learned a bunch of new words that day.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a horror movie right there. Just being being a Ravens fan or something, going to watch a game in Cleveland. They're intense, and I learned that as a kid. And I was like, well, I kind of like these fans. Like, these are my kind of people. They're loud and over the top, and maybe a little insecure, but I like them. So I still root for the Bills and the Browns, because both teams usually aren't very good, so it's
Yeah.
easier kind of you can root for both of them.
So I have a question from someone who's not from Cleveland. Two Cleveland questions. One's about the
Sure.
Browns. At the Browns stadium, anytime they make a first down or a touchdown, they play the Michael Myers theme song, and you even see Michael Myers on the screen. What is that about? I'm like, is it what is the fascination with Halloween and Michael Myers at the Brown Stadium?
That's a good question, because you're right. Often you also hear
constantly. Anytime they make a first down or anything, you hear Michael Myers. You might even see Michael Myers pop on the screen or something, or a pumpkin or something. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like thinking stuff like, was Halloween filmed in Cleveland? And I'm like, I don't think so.
No. There's totally no relation. I think that I know there's a guy that comes to the stadium that they call Pumpkinhead, that dresses with like a Browns style pumpkin helmet, and I think that Cleveland is such a I mean, Halloween and horror movies are huge here, and while maybe the main ones weren't filmed here, there's usually like an Ohio connection in almost every scary movie, which is telling. So yeah, my guess is that somebody that worked for the Browns just said, let's lean into this and have some fun, because it doesn't make it has no connection with
it
the Browns
made no sense.
whatsoever.
It made no sense. I was like, why is it when I say Halloween, I mean John Carpenter original Halloween theme.
Right, yes.
At that
100%.
stadium, anytime they make a first down or it's 3rd and 1, it's like the Michael Myers theme song playing. You'll see Michael Myers even come across the fucking Titantron, and I'm like, was Halloween? I'm like thinking to myself, like, was Halloween filmed in Cleveland, Ohio, or something? Like, why are they so fascinated with Michael Myers and Halloween in Cleveland?
Yeah, and so like when the Browns came back, they had an owner who passed away like 2 years after, or 3 years into owning the team. And his son took over the team, and he had zero interest in football whatsoever. And for he owned the team for about 10 or 15 years, and a bunch of random stuff happened. I remember one year I went to a game, and do you remember Saturday Night Live? They had a band, G.E. Smith and the Saturday Night Live band.
Mm-hmm.
So one year, out of nowhere, G.E. Smith was like the house band at the Cleveland Stadium.
That's random.
And I was at the game like, yeah, it's totally random. But I think it's just like the owner was like, I don't care.
Fuck it. Just gonna have random shit.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I just thought it was so weird that there were so many people dressed like Michael Myers at the and it wasn't even like it was Halloween season or anything.
Yeah.
I think it was like August or something. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are they so hyped about John Carpenter's 1979 Halloween movie, during a football game? A little weird.
Much of Cleveland is still stuck in the 1980s. So for us, like Jaws and Halloween and some of those movies are very fresh.
I mean, wouldn't it be weird right now? I mean, if you went to a Buffalo Bills game and like they're just playing, it's constant 100%. Jason. It's constant Jason and like anytime it's a first down, Jason comes across the screen with an axe and like blood comes. Wouldn't you be like, wait, was Jason filmed and take place in fucking Buffalo, New York? And you're like, that's weird. And then like a bunch of people in the audience that dressed like Jason. You're like, wait a minute, it's not Halloween. It's August. What the fuck? I thought that was just me. I was like, why the fuck are they fascinated with John Carpenter's 79 Halloween in Cleveland?
I would say as far as Cleveland goes, the less you ask questions and try and make sense of things, the better.
But Douglas, where can everyone find you, my friend?
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, I'm on. It's funny. I'm looking at this IMDb page that I'm on. I signed up to that because I figure at this point I've done enough acting. I should be on this website. I've got a website, DouglasEsper.com. where I have my music and acting, and I also write books. And I'm working on my first screenplay,
Nice.
which is, yeah, it's a challenge. I've written a few novels, and that feels natural. And a screenplay, I'm learning from scratch. So it's one of those things where I feel like I'm going to send it to people, and they're going to read it, and I don't know what I'm doing. So it could
be put out there,
but I got to put it out there. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And like, you decided at some point, I was watching your intro video, and you said, I watch all these YouTube people, and I watch reviews and rating of movies and all these things. And you decided, I'm going to do a show that does all of these things.
All of them.
And you're just doing them. You just go and do it. And it's not going to be perfect. And you're going to look back maybe and say, oh, I could have done this, this, and this. But you did it, which is what most people don't do. They just kind of, they sit back and say, well, they should have done this, and I could have done that better,
Yes.
So,
I call them trolls. I call them trolls because I get them in the comments like, oh, well, what kind of mic you're using? That's a shitty mic. You should be using a well, what channel? I always say, oh, well, what's your YouTube channel? I would love to see your YouTube channel and your fancy mic.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're already ahead of the game. You're doing it. You're reading scripts. Like you said, you may have a part that we can't discuss. You might be a victim. Who knows? We don't know.
Might be a killer. Who knows?
Yeah, right. Who knows? I mean, it's written. I mean, on your shirt there, it could be a horror. I don't know. But I mean, to me, that's half the fun. I mean, when I literally was playing conga on a tour, and the guitar player was like, "Hey, I'm writing a script," and I was like, "Cool. If you need help, I'll be there." And I didn't expect him to actually take me up on it, but that turned into Dwellers, and it was quite the ride. And now here we are with Bunker Heights. I'm working with people that you can just see and feel and smell and taste the talent that they have. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, as long as I don't embarrass myself, I can enjoy myself, as long as my wife isn't like, oh, what is he doing? So I'm enjoying the ride, and I'm gonna keep writing screenplays and writing books and maybe acting. So DouglasEsper.com. I'm on Facebook and Twitter and all those things under Douglas Esper, ESPER, and I'm around if anyone wants to say hi.
Listen, everybody, go into Tubi and check out Dwellers, and also look out for Bunker Heights.
Yeah.
And also, too, listen, Douglas, I would love to have you back on to promote any projects you have. And also, too, if you can find out the answer to why Cleveland Brown fans love Michael Myers so much, you can come back on. We talk about that.
I'll do some digging. Actually, on my route to work every day, I pass the Browns practice space, their practice field, and I feel like maybe I should just stop and knock on the door and be like, "What's the deal?
What's up with the Michael Myers thing? Wouldn't it be badass if Michael Myers was their mascot, like out of fucking blue? Like, whoa, like, where did that come from? I know, like, where the fuck did that come from? The whole game, I'm being serious. I was watching the whole game. I was like, I couldn't even enjoy the game. It was a good game too. But I was like, what is up with this Michael Myers shit? Like, I'm Googling it. I'm like, well, where was Halloween filmed? And it didn't say nothing about Cleveland, Ohio. So.
Yeah, no, it makes zero sense to me. But I if I can find answers, I'll get you.
Yes. Or anybody who's watching this, if they know why, Michael Myers is plastered all over the Cleveland Browns stadium, please let me know.
Excellent, I appreciate it. Yes, we appreciate all your info.
Yes. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Thank you.